Module 1, Section 3, and this video is on Objective 6. Objective 6 is use inverse operations to check an answer to an addition or subtraction problem. We did those on our last video, didn't we? So you're already used to doing this, so it shouldn't be too bad. So let's take a look at it. Hassan needs to take 9 apples to school. He has 4 already. Brenda wrote this as 4 plus 5 equals 9. Joe wrote it as 9 minus 5 equals 4. So who is correct? Let's take a look at it. Okay, so 4 plus 5 equals 9. What does that represent? Let's take a look at it. So this one is Brenda. 4 plus 5 equals 9. Okay, so these are the needed apples that he'll need. Needed apples he'll need, that's good. He has 4 already, so this is what he has. So she probably figured out what did you need to add to 4 to get 9. So that works for me. Okay, so Joe, he wrote 9 minus 5 is 4. So these are the needed apples here. So in this case, the 4 that he already has is over here. So how do you explain this one? Okay, so if he needed 9 and he has 4, you subtract 5 to get to 4. That's not exactly the most logical way of doing it, but it is correct. So trying to fill in that blank. Okay, so this is showing that add and subtract are opposites. Okay, so go this way. 4 plus 5 equals 9. So now we go backwards. 9 minus 4 equals 5. Okay, inverse operations. So inverse operations are, how are we going to define that in our own words? How about that? Operations used to check each other. So in this case, add and subtract are inverse operations, right? Because you use add to check subtract, and you use subtract to check add. So how can you check whether 948 minus 418 is equal to 530 by using an inverse operation? Okay, we worked it this way, so now we're going to check it by going back this way. Okay, so 530, if we add 418, let's see what we get. Now if you remember when we were doing the borrowing page, I showed you how to check it like this, right? So now we're going to do our answer, add what we subtracted, and see if we get what we started with. Okay, so let's do it over here and find out. 0 plus 8 is 8, 3 plus 1 is 4, and 5 plus 4 is 9. If this is that, which it is, then the one that we got is our answer. Okay, so that's how you check it. Okay, how can we check this one? So 948 add 418, and they say the answer is 1366. Okay, so let's check it. We're going to start with the answer, and we're going to subtract. So we're going this way now and see if we get 948. Okay, so we get to practice our subtract. All right, so we can't take 8 from 6, so we're going to borrow. 6 is a 5, and the other 6 is now 16. So 16 minus 8 is 8. 5 minus 1 is 4. And now rather than borrowing, well, let me show you. If I were to borrow right now, can't take 3 minus 4, so I borrow from the 1, and it becomes a 13. So look what I got. I have 13 here, but before I borrowed, I had a 13 here. So if you can see that, you don't need to really borrow, because now I'm going to do 13 minus 4, and we get 9. Whoops, wrong colors. Try that again. 9. This is that, so that is the correct answer. On example 8, it just says write an equation that contains an inverse operation that could be used to check each given equation. Okay, so let me show you how we do that. What we have done in the past is working up and down. This isn't an equation. This is kind of like scratch work. Okay, and we check this by our answer, adding the number we subtracted, and see if we get 91, which we will. Okay, so we want to write this as an equation. So to do that, you would write 54 add 37 equals 91. You just work backwards from the original. Okay, so you would start 54 and work backwards. So without writing this stuff every time, here we go. We're going to work backwards, so we start with the answer. And now we subtract the number we added. You do the opposite, the inverse. So our original, we added 2,390. Now we're going to subtract 2,390. And we're going to end with what we started with. Okay, you just write it backwards. All right, and C, we're going to start with our answer. We're going to minus the number that we added and see if it equals the number we started with. Okay, so this is just writing them backwards, right? All right, so last one. Start with our answer. We're going to add what we subtracted, so use the inverse operation, and we should get what we started with. Got really large writing there at the end. Sorry. And you are done. So your homework is 1.3 for the Lumens Online homework. And remember, your test opens on Wednesday, the 22nd. It closes on Friday, the 24th, when the testing center closes there at the school.